Hi, welcome to Radical Self-Respect here. My name is Jared Mello, and as you can see, I have a guest with me today. She is running for school board in Springfield, Pennsylvania, correct?
Yes.
Her name is Nichole Missino, and so we're going to talk a little bit about education and curriculums, because me personally, education to me is extremely important, and I'm not necessarily thrilled with how the public school system is teaching kids right now. I don't think they're necessarily teaching things that are important in the real world. We may get into that in our discussion here, so keep an eye out for that part of the discussion. But other than that, how are you today, Nichole?
I'm good. How are you?
Rocking and rolling. So what made you decide to run for school board to begin with?
So I guess I never really paid attention to what was going on in my son's education, like a whole lot with like the school and what he was being taught. My son does have an IEP, so I was super involved with that. But I wasn't necessarily involved with like the curriculum of the school and what was going on in the school. Then COVID hit, so I got super involved with that. In the beginning, I was terrified. I thought, oh my God, we're all gonna die.
Sure.
My husband's coming home from work saying like, calm down, babe, calm down. I'm like, I think we're gonna die. It took me a few weeks to realize, okay, this isn't right. I do own a business. I own Giovanni's Media Barbershop in media, and we actually defied the order and opened. I don't know if you knew that.
I've interviewed someone else who's done the same thing.
Yeah, so we defied the order. We opened on May 20th. So that really opened my eyes to a lot. Then I started paying attention to what was going on in schools. My son wasn't allowed to be in school. He was home. He was doing the online learning, which does not work for him. He's ADHD. He needs to have instruction right in front of him. I started attending school board meetings. I started attending rallies. I was, just watching what was really happening with the schools and with like the school boards and the meetings, and how the school board, they don't listen to you. You can ask as many questions as you want when you go into these school board meetings, and they do not answer you. Especially for Springfield, like if you email the school board directly, they turn it over to the solicitor and spend our tax dollars paying a solicitor to write back to you, which is just crazy to me. I didn't decide to run for school board until probably like a month and a half ago, because I thought enough is enough. These kids need to have a normal life. They need to be taught what I was taught. Your numbers, your learning, your adding, your ABCs, just normal things that kids should be learning. And I feel like if I get elected on the school board, I can really make a difference. And I want to know where everybody's tax dollars are going. The schools, most of them don't have air conditioning. So that's a huge thing. I pulled my son last year at the end of school for the last 2 weeks because it was like 110 degrees and he's sitting there with a mask on. So I pulled him the last 2 weeks because there was no air conditioning. I want to know where that money is to put the air conditioning in the schools. There's like our taxes all just went up. They all just went up dramatically, and we all need to know where that money's going. So that's a huge thing for me. I feel like critical race theory should not be in the schools at all. That is being taught in Springfield.
Is it now?
It is. As much as parents want to argue with me and tell me that it's not, there is a specific video that was in the 6th grade that was given to me, and it talks about all kinds of different races, and it brings up the fact of white privilege. I don't feel like white privilege is necessarily a thing. I feel like privilege is a thing. You can be any color and be privileged. You don't necessarily have to be white to be privileged. So I just don't feel like that should be in the school. Nobody should feel bad for the color of their skin. My son doesn't see color. My son doesn't come home and say, oh, I was playing with Alex down the road there and he's a black boy. My son doesn't say that, he just says, oh, I was playing with Alex down the road, or I was playing with Jimmy down the road,
Right.
My son doesn't see color. You only see color when it's taught.
Sure. I mean, I have no problem with them teaching the history, like as actual
Yes.
facts of everything that's gone
Yes.
down. But I also do know in critical race theory they talk about how the system is for white supremacy,
Yes.
and it's supposed to keep white supremacy there, and it's with the purpose of keeping black people down. That's where I disagree with it, because I think there may be some coincidental truth, but I don't think that's the reason why it's actually going on. To me, it's more because people get stuck in poverty. Whether they're white, Hispanic, Asian, or black, that has way more to do with a white supremacy system than like the color of someone's skin. But I don't think they want people to know about that. I don't think they want people to think about it in that light. They'd rather divide us in the racial light.
Yeah, I feel like over the past, 18 months that we've been in this, we've really gone backwards. You know, we're going back to like everybody's racist. Like, oh my goodness, I don't feel like anybody's really, we were never racist before COVID, and then COVID came and now everybody's racist again. So it's like, I just don't understand where it's coming from. Like, I
think it's even before that. The last 5-6 years, I think the race thing has really come to forefront again. It started with Obama. I think he's the one who started a lot of it. He brought a lot of it to people's attention.
Yeah.
He kind of ripped off some Band-Aids, and I don't think it was all bad, but it was also certainly not all good.
Yeah.
And so Douglas Murray, I think he wrote a book called The Madness of Crowds, and he thought things were getting better for women. And then all of a sudden, actually, no, we don't think it's getting better for women, and they started going this feminist direction. And then they said, oh, things are getting better for black people. Actually, no, they're not getting better for black people. It's actually just as bad as it was in the 60s. And so we came close. Like when I was a kid, I would see Family Matters on TV with Urkel. And I would never think once that was a black family.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even cross my mind at the time, because I thought they were just the same as me.
Yeah.
But now I see that show, and it would be the first thing I think about. Oh, it's a black family. I wonder what kind of things they're going through that maybe I didn't go through. And I think of all these other kinds of things. But it doesn't help to think of it in that light. I think everyone should be treated as individuals, as you say. That's my problem with critical race theory.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think, we should be taught the color of your skin. And I do agree that, yes, let's teach history. Let's teach about the slaves and everything that we learned. And like, I always liked that when we were in school, learning about the Underground Railroad and everything. Sure. And how they got through all of that. That was always very interesting to me, and I feel like that does still need to be taught. But the stuff that they're teaching now about, like critical race theory, is just not, it's not okay.
Well, everything circles back to education for me, because the answers are in getting people to a good quality of life. And how do you do that? With good education. Mm-hmm. So to me, education is number one, but the big thing they don't teach in education is about fiscal education, how to be good with money, how to invest, how to start your own business. And they don't, in this country right now, they teach people different things depending on where they go to school. Mm-hmm. If you go to a private school, you're going to learn way different things. They're going to teach you the more entrepreneurial mentality, the leader mentality. If you go to public schools, oftentimes, they'll teach you how to be an employee. But the problem with that now is that right now, if you don't have the money to go to college, for example, you'll be forced to go deep into debt to get a college degree.
Yep.
And honestly, I think Mark Cuban was the one who said it, that he said that $10,000 should be the limit of anyone, what they're allowed to take out. Because people go into student loan debt, it's not monopoly money. That can last a long frickin' time. So I guess I say all that to ask this question. What would you want to see in the district here? Like if it was going everything the way Nichole wanted it to go, what would it look like?
I mean, I would